you mentioned Chinese New Year. Now, I think everybody in the West knows of Chinese New Year. They always want to know like what year, what Chinese zodiac sign they're born in, and the festivals. But I don't think people really understand. I think very few people actually understand what it's about. Um, and also, I would like to know like how is it actually celebrated in your city, your home city, and is that unique to your city, or is that kind of uniform across China?
What do you mean by unique in my city?
Well, is the way that the Chinese New Year is celebrated in the city you live in, is it different? Like, is it specific to your city, or is it uh, practiced in a way that is in line with the rest of the country, or that's traditional? Um,
Well, first of all, each individual is different, which means in each city there are going to be nuance with of the celebration. For instance, in my city, there is going to be a huge celebration, aka Lantern Festival, located in the south part of the city, and it had it has been a tradition for for a few decades, I think. Well, I'm not quite sure how long officially, but from my well, it's just a tradition. And this kind of lantern festival is you can't find it much elsewhere in other cities. Also, because in most of the big cities, like millions of inhabitants in China, most of the inhabitants are Chinese, Han Chinese. And it turns out most of the Han Chinese would celebrate the Chinese New Year in a very similar way. Dragon dancing, a family gathering, probably also binge drinking, and those activities actually I just can't find much descriptions of those activities because um, you just mentioned that the Western people are so confused of most of the Western or some of the Western people do have confusions of the naming about the naming of Chinese New Year. It's a very simple system. We have 12 signs dedicated to each year, and when one circle goes around, we just started another from 1 to 12. So you can count it in a mathematical way. In the first one, we named it as mouse. In the second one, we named it as oxen. In the third one, we named it as tiger, uh, so on and so on. And when we go all around to the 12th one, then we go back to the first one. That's basically how it counts. And there are no meaning on those signs because they are just signs. They don't have any meaning.
so they're just kind of placeholders for the years, but they don't actually mean anything.
Yes, yes. Indeed, they are just placeholders. And in Tibet, they do have similar calendar system, but they count it differently. Instead of using just one, how should I say it? One dossier of animals. They use two dossiers. One dossier which have animals placeholder inside, and another dossier which has elements placeholder inside. And they just combine these two together and to run their kind of calendar system, New Year system. And it's some kind of mathematical way to try to for people in the past try to know, okay, what are the placeholder of this year? It has no, I don't think, I would argue it has no meaning after all. But some people may interpret them as um, evocational signs. Presumably, people born in the dragon year will have a dragon spirit, but it's very hard to define what dragon spirit it is. Also, it's very hard to define what mouse or mice spirit it is. So if if people assume, if people believe for those people are born in the mice or mouse year, have a vicious or negative spirit, then there would not be so much birth given in these mice or mouse here. But there are, so I don't think they do have any meanings. They're rather just placeholders.
What is your personal favorite part of Chinese New Year? Like what? Well, first of all, what is it? What is it called in China? Is it called literally Chinese New Year, or is it just called New Year? Or is it does it have a different name in Chinese?
We just call it New Year. Of course, we don't add
No, of course, of course.
the emphasize the
No, no,
Chinese
no.
in
But I
front
mean,
of it.
is there like um, there's no? It's just New Year's.
Yeah, they're just New Year's. Before we use the Western calendar, like to say, well, since the birth of our Lord Jesus Christ, we don't have that calendar, so we don't have the New Year in the traditional in nowadays traditional sense, which means back into the 18th or probably 17th century, when you ask people in China what's the denotation or what do they mean when they say New Year, they will definitely tell you. Of course, that's the started of the Chinese new calendar. They don't have the knowledge of Jesus Christ, which means they will not celebrate the 1st of January because they don't even know what's the meaning of January. Probably January is the meaning of some kind of Roman god who will have two faces. They've never been to Rome and they don't know Roman gods and they don't know January. Therefore, they don't have the idea of celebrating the 1st of January. Rather, when you speak to Chinese in Chinese language, ask them, what do you mean by New Year? They will tell you the first day of the Chinese lunar calendar.
Again, what is your personal favorite part of Chinese New Year? What do you like about it the most, or do you even like it? I don't know. Maybe I'm assuming that you don't that you like it, but maybe you don't like it. I don't know.
Um, I like it. I like it. What is my? Hmm, there's just so much fun there and so much interesting activities. I just can't tell you which one is my favorite. I mean, all those kind of interesting activities that you can find on social media and stuff, they're all very interesting.
Okay, okay, I understand.